Hey everybody, welcome to my favorite shitty movie. Very excited about tonight's show. Our guest is UC Santa Cruz college student Colby Anderson, and he's here to talk about 2002's Scooby-Doo, the first live action Scooby-Doo movie. Live action is debatable because Scooby's entirely a cartoon, but I'm here to say, when this movie came out, I poo-pooed it, but I didn't have a kid at the time. I was like, I don't know why they're doing this. I mean, I like Scooby-Doo as a kid, I didn't care about a live action thing. Certainly not one with a CGI Scooby. That sounded stupid to me, so I poo-pooed it. But then in 2005, I had a kid, and as he started to grow from a baby into a child, he was drawn to Scooby-Doo. So we watched a lot of Scooby-Doo TV shows, and then we sort of got really into watching the Scooby-Doo TV movies, the animated ones, and we would watch every that went straight to video at the time, not streaming because that wasn't really a thing, but they went to straight to video, and I'd get them all and we'd watch them, and it was just kind of an awesome tradition that I had with my son Colby, and then eventually he got old enough and I was like, well, maybe we should try the live action, and I enjoyed it, the heck out of it, and sort of was kicking myself for being such a poo-pooer of it when it came out, just because I was too good to go see family films. This is a delightful movie, and even if you don't like it, it's 87 minutes long. So what more can you ask for from a family film that it gets you in and out under 90 minutes? I'm telling you. And Scooby-Doo is fun. It's silly. It's got good jokes. It's got a bunch of good performances. Everybody's bringing it, whether they're talented or not. And, I think it's delightful. It's almost hard to call it a shitty movie because I have so many great memories of it. But before we bring my son in and we talk about it, let me bring in my co-host. She also likes Scooby-Doo, which is exciting. We're all here to celebrate this movie, Scooby-Doo, and it shouldn't maybe be on a show called My Favorite Shitty Movie. But what are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Mercer.
I don't know. I think it belongs here.
Yeah, it does.
Here's the thing. One of my many weaknesses, as friends know, I'm not an animation fan. I just didn't grow up watching a lot of cartoons. I mean, I would watch the old Popeye cartoons. I would watch the old Superman. But Scooby-Doo was like the one I really liked because it was mystery. And so it was one of the few Saturday morning cartoons that my peers were watching that I also really liked because it has a cute dog. And so that was great. I remember seeing this when it came out because it was at the time, we were such a different country. It was like a year after, September 11th. I think people were looking for easy escapism, comedy, humor, whatever.
That's a good point. I didn't think of the timing of that.
Yeah, and so I think something that was anchored in nostalgia that multiple generations grew up loving and feeling, was a good thing. And then you put the hot kids back in the day, Buffy herself in, and I actually just went to see the new I Know What You Did Last Summer yesterday, where both Freddie Prinze and Sarah Michelle Gellar, spoiler alert, shows up.
Did you like this? Did you like it?
You know what? I had fun with it. I never liked the original, so the bar was very low. I always thought the original was pretty dumb and, again, questionable talent top lining, much like this film. And ironically, I think the two actors that have the most interesting career right now, I think are the best things about this particular movie.
You're talking about Linda Cardellini and Matt Lillard.
Linda and Matthew really are great. And I think doing really interesting versions of the cartoon. And, Sarah and Freddie, they apparently got married right after this came out. They were already a real life couple. They're just cute as a button. And I think, to your point, she wears clothes really well and he's very handsome and plays.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I just would say, I mean, it feels like everybody involved in this movie in front and behind the camera really likes Scooby-Doo. as a thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of shines through, and the movie has a lot of fun, and it's super well paced.
An hour and 26 minutes with like 6 minutes worth of like credits is just about right. And I also think part of the reason it has such a cult following, we've got to address, the screenplay by James Gunn, who of course is now, sweeping up the box office with his new Superman. And
this was right around the time where he was also blamed for killing horror comedy, because his great movie Slither tanked at the box office.
Slither was awesome.
Was like, horror comedy is dead. It will never happen again.
Yes, I agree with Hillary. Absolutely. Yeah. Cardellini and Lillard, they rock it. They're having I think everyone's having a great time. And I was also struck by, I think the budget was somewhere in the 80 millions kind of thing. And that's so much money for this particular thing. But they shot it in Australia, great rebates there. The dollar was in a different place then. So you really have a very expensive film about something that I think is just really a delight and very fun for people. It's interesting because I was reading a little bit about it because, again, I know I saw it opening night. I had almost no memory of this film at all. Didn't stick with me.
I love that you went on opening night, though.
I used to do that. Was like the big release when it came. It was like this and The Bourne Identity came out like the same time. And I remembered seeing this before Bourne because I waited to see that with my folks. And they were the hot kids coming off of, other films. But it was just fun to watch something that I think, in comparison to some of the things that I see now, I don't want to call out any names. I mean, maybe Minecraft, but like just not over bloated, not, a lot of money put into this, but they were true to the spirit of the original cartoon. And the cartoon didn't aspire to be a whole, really deep. This is about having fun and all the colors. And I was struck by the DP of this. Like his first film as a DP was like, Mad Max. Like, he's another Aussie, right? And you're just like, that's insane that someone did Mad Max and Scooby-Doo. Like, there's a range visually for you people out there. Like, this guy's super talented. But I just thought it was really fun to see. And that I think there's a weird cult that's kind of because James Gunn is involved. But what was interesting in some of the reading I had done, when the stars signed on, apparently there was an edgier version, not as family oriented, where they had a little bit more purple humor. And they played into some of the tropes where Shaggy is clearly a stoner, and Velma is traditionally seen as kind of a lesbian character in some ways. And they even had a kiss with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Linda when they were supposed to be doing body swapping things. And then they cut that out. And after the actors signed on, the tone changed and they had rewritten the script and it got a lot more kid friendly, probably to try to exponentialize what they thought the box office appeal could be. But I guess James Gunn in recent years has given an interview saying, there is an R-rated version of this that exists with some of the original humor intact because it was meant to be a little bit more sophisticated and kind of racy. And there's some things that survive from that a little bit, which we'll get into when we get into the show. But I just thought, man, I can't believe
that makes sense for James Gunn. I would 100% watch the R-rated Scooby-Doo. Let's bring in our guest.
Yes, Colby,
and have him walk us through the Scooby-Doo narrative. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome philosophy and psychology double major, Colby Scott Anderson. Here he is.
Yay, Colby!
Yeah, you don't have to clap. It's okay. Thank you. No, please stop.
I just don't want to mess up the sound.
I got you. So the Carrie musical, which I'm here to talk about.
Carrie musical.
Oh, is this the Scooby-Doo show?
Scooby-Doo.
Sorry, Scooby-Doo.
I love that you know about Carrie the musical.
Well, I was so ready to argue for it, but it's okay. Actually, I always keep a copy of the Scooby-Doo live action movie on me, just in case 1 and 2. You can see it right here.
Love it.
You see the weird little live action Scooby-Doo dog here.
Yeah.
Which, if you see any of the videos of them creating that dog, it's very similar to the way Chris Pratt has to act with velociraptors in the Jurassic World, where it's just a
tennis ball. It's a little guy.
It's a guy. I can't remember if it was tennis ball or green, but it is a guy.
That was Scooby-Doo was mocap.
No, well, it wasn't the time for mocap, but it was a guy like in the place, and then
and he had I'll bet it was like tennis balls on poles.
That's probably exactly
because by the way, like one of the things I think about when I watch movies with CGI is, has CGI really improved? And what you would compare Scooby-Doo to is Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford from a few years ago.
No.
And they used mocap technology to create the dog, so it was an actor in the mocap suit acting like a dog with Harrison Ford. And I've only seen stills of this, but it looks hilarious. I just want to see a cut of Call of the Wild with the actor in the mocap suit acting like a dog with grumpy Harrison Ford. I think that would be brilliant.
No, that would be amazing.
But the CG itself in Call of the Wild, well, yeah, it looks smoother, more fluid maybe than Scooby did. But what's the improvement visually, really? Because it still looks like a freaking cartoon dog.
Well,
live action.
How I always compare it is like looking at something as old as like the first Transformers movie, which like looks really good for when did that movie come out? It was 2000 something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like 5.
Yeah, I think early odds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then stuff that's coming out like now, like some Marvel slop that looks like really bad compared to really old Transformers. I feel like it's gotten worse.
Well, that's a good point, because I was struck by the new Jurassic Park. I'm like, the dinosaurs 35 years later look worse somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Than the original Stan Winston Spielberg.
Well, part of the problem with the new Jurassic Park movie is a lot of the dinosaurs weren't dinosaurs. I mean, the ending, monsters. The final monster in that isn't a dinosaur. It looks like the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. And what? I mean, it's like, is it a Godzilla movie or a Jurassic Park movie? You got to make up your mind. Guys.
Yeah, it was disappointing. It was very disappointing.
Yeah, but it's a good point. It's like, has it improved? But I think also when your source material is Hanna-Barbera, which I don't think anyone ever accused as being particularly great animation. It was, kind of on the cheap, made for everybody, and it worked because the characters had charm. I actually thought the film did a really good job, kind of, the kind of, I would argue, iconic credit sequences to Scooby-Doo. There's Easter eggs of that credit sequence throughout this film. There's sight gags that we saw in episodes. So it was definitely, I think, to your point, people who made this film, wrote it, directed it, who are acting in it, all grew up on Scooby-Doo, and they all loved it, and it brings joy to it.
This the movie like clearly must have been good. They created an entire ride for it, actually, based on the live action Scooby-Doo movie, which was the ride was kind of a disaster because it went through like 3 recreations, because it started off
where was the ride?
It was Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where it had all these different parts in the movie. Like there's a part in the movie where they're like hanging in cages, and it's got one of the best lines in the movie where what was it? Oh, so they're hanging in a cage, and then there's 2 other cages, and one of them is filled with like Girl Scouts with their cookies, and they're like, do you want a cookie? And Scooby-Doo's like, yeah. And then the people next to them are a bunch of like people who sell Bibles, and they're like, have you heard the good news? And Scooby-Doo is like, yeah, there's cookies. And that's one of the greatest lines. And they create like a full 5-minute section of this dark ride just to recreate that joke in a little roller coaster.
That's dedication.
It's pretty awesome.
One of the things I was going to say about this live action movie that came out in 2002 that I thought was really cool is they used all of the various stages, like you say, of Scooby-Doo's evolution as an entity, both in shows and movies. And like they even reference Scrappy-Doo in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
Scrappy-Doo, they make a joke out of it, which I thought was pretty funny. But also, like they have the opening sequence. We'll have Colby get into it, but the opening sequence, which is just uncovering, like you say, a mystery. It seems like a supernatural thing, but it's just the creepy old janitor, which is classic Scooby-Doo, like from the original series. But as the various series went on and then the movies went on, the things that were mysteries turned out to be actual supernatural events.
Right.
And so that this movie encompasses both those things. I thought in a effective manner.
Yeah.
The animated Scooby-Doo movies definitely started to do that too, because they started off, like, as you said, like the TV show especially was just, you know, like they take off a mask and it's a guy, and then later on they like start making bits where they try and take off a mask, but no, it's just a vampire. There's no trick about that. Which
it encompasses multiple generations. Like it's still common, at least in my social media bubbles, where I will see like the, taking off like, the ghost thing. And it's like, it's usually a MAGA person. But it's hilarious. They're like, here it is, but I love that it's still relevant. Colby, did you grow up watching the animated TV show first and then discover live action, or did you come to live action and then go back and watch the
It was animated first.
He just discovered that because we have a DVD box set that I bought when he was a kid. Yeah, he's gonna grab it so you can see it. And it has the original series, all the seasons of the original series, which I think is 3 maybe seasons of the show. And in a mystery van, it pops up. There are your DVDs. And he found out that this is worth, what'd you say? $500.
Because they
I'm selling it. I need money.
The TV show itself is out of print by now, and the car itself is also out of print.
Because it's
the little van thing.
It started off on CBS for a couple seasons and then moved to ABC and did really well. And then different iterations would come to Cartoon Network, and then there were different variations over the years. But that's also a really unique thing to do with a property that goes from multiple networks continuing to go on. It's like the proof is in the storytelling. I got a kick out of just the colors, and like they're just going for it. And I love the way they introduce everybody, right? I mean, it's like literally Freddy. It's just perfect Fred. Walk us through, like, what in the hell is happening in this opening sequence?
Tell us what happens in the movie.
Oof. All right, let me see. So it starts off with they basically tell one of the older movies again in like a new form, where they show up at this creepy, what is it? It's a
toy
a toy factory, where they're trying to discover this thing, and they go through all the classic Scooby-Doo things of there's a ghost randomly, and Fred tries to activate a trap at one point, which doesn't work. Scooby and Shaggy are scared off, of course. They start running, which gets the ghost in the trap. And the ghost does things like flies at some point and other things, which I don't think is ever fully explained. Do they explain?
No, they do. They show it.
They show.
Like at the end, they turn a button on the guy's suit, and it has helium balloons.
Right. It has the helium balloon. I should have thought of that.
But then,
that was good.
But then also in this opening sequence, it's almost like the Bond movie. It's the opening sequence to establish this team. This is what they do. This is what they were successful. But I love that this thing where it's like literally Scooby-Doo is skateboarding, or actually Shaggy is skateboarding, Scooby-Doo in the barrel with him. But look at this like early CGI shot. They have Matthew Lillard they put into a fake barrel, a fake Scooby-Doo, and then you've got someone trying to actually skateboard at the same time. Like there's a lot going on in that for early 2000s. But I just think that Matthew Lillard kind of steals this movie. Like he
100%.
He sounds just like Casey Kasem, the original voice. And he's just wonderful in this role. And I love that the first time you see kind of pain in the ass, Daphne, she's the damsel in distress. So they establish she's the pretty girl who always gets stolen and caught. Yeah. And that's much to her chagrin. And I love that when she finally gets thrown into something, she's introduced literally next to like Scooby's ass. She's like, this, welcome to my movie, but we vanquished the ghost, which is, again, the smart girl, Velma. We know she's smart because she's wearing glasses and a turtleneck. That's code.
Of course.
But
she can't be the pretty girl because she has glasses and a turtleneck.
Exactly. The messaging was very clear very early on. And so she's like, well, this is how they did it. And she basically solves like the whole thing. And what I love is that there's somehow like a bunch of groupies that are there, including Pamela Anderson, who shows up for like a great cameo.
Do you, Colby, are you familiar with Pamela Anderson?
Maybe. Tell me.
Well, she was on Baywatch,
Oh,
the show.
Yeah.
And the last showgirl last year, I wouldn't know.
Last Showgirl. Her first foray into comic book cinema was Barbed Wire.
Which
Wow.
is awesome. If you
Which
watch
is-
Barbed Wire, it's based on a comic book. But if you look
Mhm.
closely, Eileen Chaikin, who would later go on to create the L Word, she basically writes Pam Anderson's character as if she's Rick from Casablanca. She owns a bar and all this stuff happens. And if you watch it as her plagiarizing Casablanca with Pam Anderson as Rick, it's awesome. Camptastic, as it were.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's
sounds
a
wonderful.
terrible, wonderful movie.
I'm sure.
She was most famous, I think, for being like a Playboy model, right?
She was a Playboy model for a while, yeah.
Yeah. That's sort of what launched her career.
Okay, sure.
And Baywatch. But
I thought about using that to launch my career at one point.
Playboy?
Yeah, being a Playboy model.
Wrong magazine, but you go for it.
Well,
God bless if you can do it.
Dreams.
Yeah.
So we immediately, something is solved. The press is there, right? So we set up the conflict with this team where Velma, the smart girl who actually solves everything. In fact, you can say Kate Jackson on Charlie's Angels. She's like, hey, that was my idea and I did the thing. And then he tries to take all the credit. And then, basically Daphne's like, why am I the pretty girl who's always like having to be saved? I hate that. Yep. And so they start fighting. And then there's this beautiful moment where Lillard and Scooby were like, hey guys, like we won. This is so great. And they're like, that's it. I'm out of here. And the gang splits up. So
it's such a sad opening. That's one of those.
Do you remember how you felt the first time you saw that?
Did I cry?
I don't remember. I was asking.
Oh, you're asking me.
Remember the emotional impact of the mystery gang.
Yeah, the gang
breaking up.
I remember there being a lot of surprise because I was expecting just another one of the animated movies, and I'd never seen the gang split up before. Yeah, that's totally
They were
new.
trying to make him more human.
Yeah, more human, which I didn't like. I was shocked.
That's what I love about Lillard and Cardellini in this movie is they managed to bring humanity to these very cartoonish performances. So they're honoring both elements, the Scooby-Doo cartoon and this live action version.
I would definitely say Lillard looks and seems a lot more like an actual stoner than the animated ones, because in the animated movies, it's always suggested that Scooby and Shaggy are a bunch of weed smokers, but in this movie,
Scooby snacks, right? Because he's got the
exactly, Scooby snacks. He's very clearly high at some points in the film.
Well, and they do the bit where after the opening sequence and the gang breaks up, there's the scene where you start with the mystery machine and there's just billows of smoke coming out.
Yeah.
And you hear Shaggy and Scooby talking and you think they're smoking weed, but then you get in there and they're just barbecuing inside a van, which is horribly dangerous.
Fire hazard. That's definitely a fire hazard.
Don't try that at home, kids. But I also think it's interesting because I do think this has a big cult status because of the James Gunn cult. But given the new Superman, you can kind of see that I would argue he does something similar in Superman than he does here. Whereas in Gunn's Superman, he deconstructs Superman. He gets away. We don't go with the origin story. We don't kill Pa Kent. We start, he's here. He's already dating Lois. We don't do the origin as we've typically done, but we show Superman getting beaten up and losing most of the film. He's very human and he can lose battles, which is unusual. And I think here he is deconstructing, the mystery gang, we start with them breaking up so they can come back together. We start with them having a little bit more drama. So in a weird way, he's deconstructing even as he's using the DNA of the initial, IP that he's redoing.
That's very James
Can you go back to the photo that you had before for a second?
Where he's
with them in the van? I want to point out something that I love because we were talking about the CGI. Something that's so fun is like looking at Scooby-Doo, and there are a couple others. There's like one of like him in a hat and stuff like that, where he's got so much expression on his face, which current CGI really does not have. It seems like cartoon Scooby-Doo right there, but like a little closer to real life,
Yeah, well, it's like when he goes basically in drag, pretending to be like grandmother, right? Always
looking great sequence.
It's a good bit.
But because, and then of course you've got the stoner who he thinks the girl of his dream, a very young Isla Fisher. And, and it's charming, it's just a charming intro. But I love that they're kind of there, and you realize that they both basically, all the gang gets invited to go right to Spooky Island, where they realize, wait, we're all at the airport. We haven't seen each other in 2 years. We now have Freddie Prinze by way of Fred. I don't know, sort of members only, with a better haircut. 2 years later, Velma still has only one outfit. Tragic. That's what we do to Velma, because she's too busy. Oh, she works at JPL now. So she, just in case we didn't know she was the smart one, she's at JPL at NASA. And so then, of course, Purple Girl there is like, I pack all of this to go on, I guess Skull Island or wherever the hell they're going, Spooky Island.
Yeah, Spooky Island.
Yeah, but I just love the contrast of she needs all these matching suitcases, and Velma literally just has the same outfit. They just go for it. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, like we were saying, she is game. She fully leans into this. We're on the plane. Quickly we get to this island.
Which looks like a great amusement
park.
No,
it looks amazing.
It does.
We never really go into all the really cool looking rides.
Don't you want to? Like when you see this establishing shot, you're like, oh, I want to ride on that roller.
Yeah, that looks great. Cool. Which is part of why they turned it into a small actual ride.
Right.
In Australia, which everyone's always going to Australia for roller coasters.
Is Australia known for that?
Huge, yeah. It's the only reason people go.
So we get that the team was all beckoned by this guy, Mr. Bean himself, who basically says, I'm really concerned that the people on my island that are like in a cult, and maybe there's a curse, and maybe they're being brainwashed. This is not actually a clip from CPAC, but it could be. And I'm hiring you guys to try to figure out what's going on with this.
And it's Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean. Which he's a perfect choice for a cartoon movie.
Oh yeah, he's wonderful. He's always a joy to watch.
He says really dumb things in interviews, but he is delightful in over the top movies. Did you ever see Rat Race, Tracy?
No.
Oh my God, you should see Rat Race. I think you would appreciate it. It's so dumb. It's basically a much shorter remake of It's a Mad World.
Oh, I love
an updated thing with ludicrous over the top performances. But Rowan Atkinson's really funny in it.
There's a TV show that I watched a while ago called Man vs. Bee with him in it. And it's hilarious because the entire plot of it is literally just he's trying to kill a bee in his house. And over the course of the 6 episodes of the show, he ends up blowing up his house, and the bee still survives and stings him. And that's the whole show. And it's wonderful because it's Mr. Bean, he's great.
That is great.
I love it.
So where are we in the narrative? What's happening?
Now we get introduced to this guy.
Who, initially when I was watching this the other day, I was like, wait, is that Michael Bean? But it's not.
It's
not Michael Bean.
It's not.
I thought Michael Bean had shaved his head, fully committed to the Scooby-Doo movie.
All we know is that he somehow works in this amusement park. He's somehow part of the entertainment. He somehow seems to be involved with Mr. Bean somehow.
And he has tattoos, which probably makes him evil.
Right. Especially back then. Yeah. And then things start to get a little bit weird. Scooby-Doo's trying to figure out how to use a phone. But you're right, though. The quality of the hair, and it's kind of well done there. And then we go immediately into this. This has never really paid off. But Sarah Michelle.
No, but you know what? It paid off for me right away because an actor from Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, was still working, and for me that's a win. This guy still works today.
Really?
Yeah, still works today.
And I love that he's like, I'm trying to sacrifice a chicken, and then she's like, but the chicken's already dead. So
Yeah.
it's like a long way to get to that. So you're like, okay. But then of course,
if you'd seen Weekend at Bernie's Part 2, you would know that sacrificing an already dead chicken doesn't work.
I feel like most people have not seen Weekend at Bernie's Part 2.
And that's what's wrong with America.
Yep, and that's the problem. That's the big problem.
That's the issue.
I'm glad you found that. We can end the show there, actually. That's it.
That's it.
We fixed America.
So Scooby gets sucked into because of his food lust. He's been told there are hamburgers, so he abandons the crew to go look for hamburgers and encounter.
I love that. It's just a poster board with Sharpie saying hamburgers into a dark sack on a
it's
tree.
The best that
and he's like, okay.
And then you've got the CGI hand behind him of the creature, right? And then
and the bag is CGI too, I feel like.
Everything. Well, here's the thing that's also funny. So you've got them broken up. Each of them decide, we're going to solve the case. The damsel in distress, right? Daphne's like, I'm going to solve this. I'm tired of being the one that never gets to solve anything.
It's such a good message, too. They're breaking up, and they're all trying to do things on their own when it's about teamwork.
Yeah.
It is. And so they all go their disparate ways, and that's when all the bad stuff happens because they're not working together yet, right? So
this is like a metaphor for the modern Democratic Party.
Ha!
Everybody's trying to do stuff on their own, and they need to come together and work as a team.
They're about that well organized. So they're like, clearly it says do not enter close. So she's like, you guys, we have to go in. And then
that was a good impersonation. I like that.
Then we get into the ride game where they're being chased by like this crazy car, which is kind of fabulous and looks right out of Beetlejuice to my eyes.
I love this sequence too because there's so many deadly things in this amusement park ride that I feel that's why he has it on an island. It's in international waters. Yeah, there aren't any regulations.
I'm sure there's so many waivers they signed before. It's like Six Flags,
It's like
if you die.
Actually, I was gonna say this movie is sort of a Jurassic Parky kind of thing.
I see that. I definitely see that. Sure, without the dinosaurs.
But this is but you're right though. This looks like some pendulum from the Fall of the House of Usher or some craziness. It's like
it's moving and it's clearly deadly. So if you're on the ride is timed right, but it still seems like there's a lot of legal ramifications about that choice.
And it must have been very expensive to build all these things with the real materials
on an island.
On an island, yeah. And he bought the island. Where's all this money coming from? What does he do?
These are questions for Mr. Bean.
Can we add him to the show real fast and just ask a couple
I'm waiting for Rowan Atkinson to call in.
Oh, gotcha.
And so they're there, and then you start to realize there might be something to this cult. Daphne uncovers what looks like a clue, some kind of contraption right out of Hellraiser, where she's like, oh, that's interesting. And then we cut back to the bar where, basically Velma's trying to figure out what she's looking at. And there's already a cute dude talking to her, which is kind of fun. And then
she gets hit on constantly in this
in both movies, all the time.
And then I love that they introduced Scrappy-Doo, who's literally a pisser. We know this because he pees on her in the car.
I want to pause you for a second and just make like everybody's opinion known on Scrappy-Doo is no one likes Scrappy-Doo. I've never met a single person who likes Scooby-Doo who's gone, a character that I really enjoy from the Scooby-Doo franchise is when they created Scrappy-Doo. Do you remember when the entire show was just Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy-Doo?
Yeah.
For 2 seasons? Yeah. That is nobody's favorite 2 seasons of the show. I can guarantee it.
But I also just find it so interesting how much people hate Scrappy-Doo. Like he never really bothered me.
Oh, no, he definitely bothered me.
Yeah, he bothers a lot of people.
There's an episode where they were in this like house full of monsters, and it was Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and Scrappy-Doo. And Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, they're being nice to everyone, and one of the people is like a vampire girl who's like embarrassed about being like a monster. And Scrappy-Doo just starts like ragging on her. He's like, yeah, you are a freak monster, and then waddles away. Who wrote that and thought that would be funny? It's just like, let's have a little hassle in here.
Well, obviously, this movie knows that.
I agree
and
with
that's
that.
why they turned him into a villain.
To
Yeah,
its
exactly.
benefit.
Jeff Luce is absolutely correct. He is the cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch, known as the character that you bring in when the series has jumped the shark. Basically,
Yeah.
like, what the Brady Bunch really needed was another precocious child. No, it didn't.
But nobody did people hate Oliver? I thought
He
people
was lame. It was like I think it's what Colby's saying. They weren't writing for Oliver the way they didn't write for Scrappy-Doo. You kind of want to throat punch him. You're like, he looks like little mini John Denver. You're like, shut up, Oliver. Shut up. No, it's not good. So we bring in a Scrappy-Doo. We know that he's a problem, and he's such a problem that the gang kick him out of the mystery van. Again, this is James Gunn going, okay, we've got to service the fans, but he's also setting up Scrappy-Doo because we'll get to that in a second. But I love that then we cut back to they're in the kind of carnival of horrors or whatever, and this is a classic shot from, I think it's even in the opening credits of the cartoon, but it's a pretty famous shot.
Oh yeah,
of the actual series, right? Head in the vase, in case we couldn't see. It's cool. And then one of my favorite jokes is when Sugar Ray, this is how you know it's the early 2000s, kind of can hypnotize Daphne because she's kind of an idiot, and his eyes start to glow, and he's like, and she's like, and then suddenly gets somehow soul snatched or something, and then we're on the go. So now
this is such a good part of the movie.
It's so good. These ATVs are fabulous. I mean, the helmets that they take time to wear, fun. They're on the go, and then the inevitable happens, where Matthew Lillard is really hung up on Isla Fisher, and Scooby-Doo is not liking her. It's not because she's allergic to dogs. He is sensing that there is something rotten in Denmark in the form of Isla Fisher, and he's like, hey, he's like a mask. He's like a mask. Again, playing homage to the IP, right? Oh no, they're masks.
And the metaphorical mask this time.
The metaphorical mask, yes.
And Scooby-Doo is actually a very smart movie if you think about it. It's kind of turning classic definitions on their heads, right?
You're right.
It's pretty. Who wrote this? Do we know?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. He's brilliant. This man is brilliant.
He might have a future. I think so.
Are you going to go see Superman or not?
We'll find out. If it gets under $10 somewhere, I'll go check it out.
$10.
Oh my God, it's so wrong. So Scooby and Shaggy start to have a fight over the girl, which is a mistake because friends don't quit. Another message right from the show that is implemented as lines of dialogue throughout. Shaggy somehow goes in after Scooby, who gets sucked up into the ground. Don't ask too many questions. And then we find this kind of like cauldron of souls that somehow has something to do with the
so then it's like this is where the movie trips into the supernatural, actual supernatural. There's it's not a old creepy janitor in a suit. It's actual souls bouncing around in bodies.
It's a bowl of souls, which is a good band name.
Soul Bowl?
Soul Bowl. Bowl Soul.
And then there's demons that, apparently get killed by sunlight like this with early CGI.
Which this is when their CGI begins to really show how not amazing it is.
Yeah.
You know what? But honestly, looking back, when I have a monster movie and the CGI is not great because it's old, I'm way more forgiving of it than I am of a current movie where the CGI is not great. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Especially if it's a big studio movie like this or Jurassic Park. I mean, having with like no money, I know how hard it is, which is why practical is always best. But what I also appreciate about this, and this is the part that I think this is like a holdover from the more kind of purple humor, harder R version of Scooby-Doo as James Gunn originally had envisioned it. As soon as the supernatural stuff starts to happen in an inexplicable way, all of a sudden Velma is wearing a low-cut top.
Right.
The turtleneck somehow just turns into Linda's like, oh, I'm just going to let it all hang out.
As a kid, I never seemed to mind that, actually. It's weird.
I just think good for her for doing Orange and Red. I was pretty sure that's a Clash, but she's been at work for 60 years, so we love that. But then we go undercover, right? And we see that there is some kind of crazy Jonestown cult. Somebody has clearly seen, I'm sure it's James Gunn, the apple, the little pyramid stuff.
Oh my God, I had not thought of that.
Right? And so the bim would have been in the forehead, but here it's the triangle that's here. But the colors of what they're wearing is right out of the apple.
It's the colors, yeah.
It's the colors. they're having fun with that. And then Lillard's like, I gotta save Scoobs because he's gonna be sacrificed. And he's like, sacrificed? And he's like, no, Scoobs, that's bad.
Lillard is dressed kind of like the lead cultist priest in Temple of Doom here.
Oh my God.
Sure.
Kali Ra, man. It's today everyone would be like cultural appropriation canceled.
But it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
All good fun. But this was actually kind of, I think if I were a kid, this would be heavy, snatching Scooby's soul out of him.
Oh no, I remember that was very dark. It was hard to watch a little bit.
Very dark because you're worried about him. And then we go to. And then it's almost like, at the end of Raiders with the Nazis and the ghosts, you've got Rowan Atkinson, doing his thing. And this we get the big reveal that, you take off the face and he seems to be a robot again with the bim from the apple now in the chest, not the forehead. And of course, who's the bad villain? It's Scrappy-Doo.
You actually make a good point. The live action Scooby-Doo is kind of like the Raiders of the Lost Ark for my generation. We think about it, I would say, in pretty much the same way you guys think of Raiders of the Lost Ark, like a mark of the generation, like a huge, perfect adventure film.
Perfect film.
Perfect film.
A perfect film.
Yeah.
Except we got to punch Nazis, which we should be doing more.
Yeah, that's the problem with the Scooby-Doo movies is they don't fight Nazis at any point.
Well, we don't know the monster's political affiliations. No one ever stopped to ask.
That's true. Scrappy seems pretty Nazi.
He seems pretty Nazi. Yeah.
Well, okay, so we got Scrappy-Doo as being the problem, and then I like that he gets roided out and he turns into this giant monster, like Scrappy-Doo character, who then somehow
reason either, because he does some chaos and stuff, and then very quickly what do they do? Do they blow him up? How does he?
No, they spill the cauldron of souls.
Right, they spill the cauldron of souls, which makes him
away all of his power. I will
shove him in a helicopter.
Todd, you haven't seen Superman yet, have you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're talking about the one from 1978, which I've seen.
Well, no, that would be the great one. We've
seen
Man
of Steel,
which I try to forget. I can't forget because it's already.
It is very forgettable.
It is very forgettable.
He's very pretty. That's all I can say.
I can't believe there are two of those. That's crazy to me.
It's. I think the Henry. How do you say his last name? Cavill. The Cavill ones are more forgettable than the Ruth one. I think eventually Brandon Ruth will be considered the George Lazenby.
Oh, no, because Lazenby had one of the best Bond films with On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That's different. No, not happening. But I was going to say
on the Cavaline though, I will say he does a very good evil Superman who could possibly turn into the Superman from Injustice that just kills everybody.
Yeah, that's true. And Hill's right. A little bit took of Indiana Jones and the children was enslaved in the cave. That's
true. Temple. And I guarantee you, James Gunn loves Temple of Doom because it's deeply dark and inappropriate.
Well, without giving too much away, there is probably a 10-minute sequence that didn't have to be in the film at all, but at least could have been a minute in the new Superman, where there's a character just like this who gets righted up for no reason, also looking like a bad dinosaur, sort of is it Godzilla, is it not, in Metropolis, and it just steps on things and doesn't matter, and there's no payoff, much like this. So I think there's something that Gunn is meditating on. This is like a warm-up for a really unfortunate end of Act 1 moment in the upcoming film. But then it's a love story, so we get our lovebirds in life. They get to kiss, and what's really exciting is Velma gets the guy who likes Zeppelin, so that's a win. And then we get to rescue Rowan Atkinson because we realized the real guy was imprisoned and now he too is free. Most importantly, our two main peeps are reunited. Scooby and Shaggy become friends once again. And of course, the terrible Scrappy-Doo and this guy who's like a reject from Temple of Doom. They get out of here. And more importantly, the whole gang is back together doing a St. Elmo's fire. Blah, 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 blah. And evil is vanquished. The team has reunited and they set us up for a sequel.
It's really kind of it's a very streamlined, very kind of perfect, messagey family movie. I really like it. Oh, Andy Kamenetsky says that he has done many radio shows with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Right
as his co-host, and he was super cool and fun to work with. He's also interviewed Lillard, and he was very pleasant. I also worked with Freddie Prinze Jr. on his show Freddie, and I agree with Andy. He was a lovely dude. And I worked with Matt Lillard on a bunch of episodes of Good Girls, and also thought he was awesome. And I told him that you love Scooby-Doo and loved him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Shaggy. It was funny. I was in a transpo van with Breckenmeyer, who's the guy from Garfield.
It's like my childhood of the live action.
He loved Garfield, the Garfield movies. He loved the Scooby movies. So I'm telling these two dudes, on the way to set, my son loved your stuff. And because I was experiencing these things for the first time with him, I loved them too, and they were really pleased to hear that. They're very cool, modest dudes when it comes to that,
I'm sure.
So
I've heard they're both wonderful. So
definitely. And
I do, by the way, have a clip from this film. And it's a clip of one of the James Gunn sort of comedic carryover things I think that you're talking about from the R-rated version of the PG-13. So it survived to PG-13. And it's a scene where they're wandering around. They wind up on what looks like a TV set for a sitcom.
Right.
And they have a belching contest.
Such a good
Here it is. Matt Lillard and a cartoon. Are you challenging me? Oh, man. Pull my finger. Oh, too late. You're in trouble.
Oh, that was wonderful. My favorite part, I think, was when you got so into it that like spittle started to fall down your face.
Well, when you have to do your own flatulence ADR, like in camera, because you don't want to go back and do it, deal with it in post, then there's gonna be a lot.
There's gonna be spittle,
as I've been told by multiple dentists, I have overactive saliva glands.
Gotcha. Didn't need to know that, but
apologize for that.
No, it's fine. I forgive.
Should we? It is good to point out, Tracy. I noticed you have this still of the end credit sequence, which I thought was a delightful use of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's over, and we'll just have Scooby-Doo and Shaggy have a hot pepper competition.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I thought was very fun.
It's adorable.
It's it's like, honestly, if you have Matt Lillard doing this performance, you're a fool not to have the end credit sequence be Matt Lillard.
That's true. By himself, basically.
Yeah.
It's pretty wonderful. And it's the whole movie set up another movie, which was also a delight to watch. I find the sequel to be quite fun as well.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed is better than it needs to be for a sequel.
I agree. For a sequel.
Have you seen the sequel, Tracy?
I have not, no.
Well, if you like the first one, I would recommend giving it a shot. I mean, it's of equal length. So
it's of equal everything pretty much.
Yeah,
except it doesn't have Scrappy Doo, which
it doesn't have the Scrappy.
Could be a plus.
Well,
but maybe it's a minus. I don't know. We'll have to see what Tracy thinks.
What's interesting about the sequel too is it combines the normal unmasking and the fantasy elements just like this one does, you know, because they in a way they unmask and it's Scrappy-Doo, but it's still in the end none of it's faked. It's all real, like souls being snatched, which is very interesting. It quite reminds me of the hit movie Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King, which was one of the original animated movies that started to go into the lane of magic, where the plot of it, as you might guess, is the Goblin King is angry and it's Halloween. So Scooby-Doo and his gang, they are like, what are we going to do? Because they start slowly turning into monsters. So they have to board the Goblin train and Scooby-Doo their way eventually to the Goblin King and use her daughter to convince him to turn it all back. And it's a wonderful frolic of a film. But in the end, and this was the first one that I saw where there was no unmask, I was like, because I kept waiting for some big reveal, like it's all a hologram or something like that. And that was it. It was all just, no, this is actually a Goblin King who can turn you into a demon.
Right.
And you're like, oh, so we've taken a jump.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo Zombie Island did
oh, that one's wonderful. That had a sequel.
Yeah.
That one's quite good too.
Man, we got to watch some of those old.
We really do. We own all of them.
That'd be fun to do a marathon.
Are we including the Lego Scooby-Doo movies?
I still haven't seen that.
You haven't seen either of them?
The Lego Scooby-Doo.
I believe there's 3. We own all of them.
We do?
Wow.
Or we own at least 2 of them.
I thought we only owned one. The first.
No, we own 2 of them.
Oh.
And they're actually kind of funny because they're just a full Scooby-Doo movie, except like
they look.
It's
like
just like when you unmask, you see them take off like the brick. It's pretty great, you know. It's cute.
I love it.
So, final thoughts about Scooby-Doo, Colby. Why should anyone see this movie? Tell them why.
Okay. Well, if you loved Raiders of the Lost Ark and you hate Nazis, this movie I would say is perfect for you. It's got everything you need. It has action. It has romance. It has comedy. It has making fun of and in a way torturing one of the most annoying characters in comedy. There he is. Look at him in his little prison. Which I like the idea that when they put him in prison, it's just going to be that box. He doesn't get a full cell.
It's like a pet carrier. You're like,
it's a pet carrier. And it's I think just an overall wonderful thing. And it's got some really smart humor, as well as you wonderfully recreated some body humor in it as well.
Thank you. Tracy, how would you recommend this to? Like, imagine you're talking to a fellow Gen Xer. That's what I want to hear. Like, pitch this movie to somebody like me who poo-pooed it on its initial release and why. And assuming, like, also like a Gen Xer who has no children. Like, they have no reason to watch a family movie. Why would you tell them to watch this?
For me, as a Gen Xer who has no children, I like it because it's now doubly nostalgic because I grew up loving Scooby-Doo, and this is now so old, almost a quarter of a century old.
No,
that the leads of this again, Lillard and Linda having gone on and are still working and doing great work, and the others two are Freddie not as much, but Sarah's still working a lot. And I just feel like it's fun to see them young. It's fun to see them totally game. And I think if you want to escape the news of our time, and this is very harmless. It is surprisingly, given that it's an aughts movie, not riddled with unfortunate things that'll trigger a bunch of people. And I wish personally they would have gone for it a little bit more. Like today, I think you probably would be edgier with Velma. I think Daphne could have some depth to her. I think you could do some things that would bring the characters into the now. This is a little too kiddie, but I think with a little bit of work, it would work for a broader spectrum.
I will say I do appreciate one of the very clear elements in this movie is Daphne is angry with the fact that she keeps being the girl who's caught every time. So she leaves and she comes back knowing, I believe, kung fu.
Yeah, she does. She learns
and there is a very, very good scene of her just beating this man with her kung fu, which I found wonderful. I didn't know what feminism was when I was like 10, but I felt it in my heart, which was wonderful.
I was like, they got Buffy. They're going to do a Buffy action scene.
That's actually, I think that's a really good point. I think, I mean, and all kinds of messaging, bad and good, can seep into a kid if they're entertained by it.
And Daphne is more aware than she is in the cartoon, because Michelle Gellar is given a line of dialogue where she was like, I was going to say that. Oh no, now it's like they're going to think I'm copying off the Smart Girls paper, because you could tell that's a reoccurring theme in her life, but she's aware of it. And so, as opposed to Daphne, who's just kind of like an airhead in the cartoon.
Right.
Yeah. Hillary made sure you did. Yeah. Good mom alert. Good mom alert.
Not messing around. I agree with you guys. I mean, like, I would say if you are a movie lover, and you grew up on Scooby cartoons, I get the resistance to seeing this. Like, oh, it looks like corporate slop. But it's weirdly entertaining. You know, it because I think James Gunn's involved in the writing, it undercuts a lot of stuff you expect it. Mm-hmm. But also at the same time, it is cartoony in the best possible way. The pacing is very cartoony. You don't go too long without action sequences, without comedy. It's and like we said, it's under 90 minutes, super short, the basic length of a cartoon movie. I don't know. I think it's just fun. And if you smoke weed, I'm not suggesting you should, but if you do, it's a good weed smoking movie.
This is a wonderful movie to watch while high. I've heard.
But they also.
I hope so.
Yeah. No, I don't smoke. It's against my religion.
Good.
They also, one of my favorite in puns is that they have the reggae artist named Shaggy covering the Scooby-Doo theme as Shaggy. So they're doing, kind of fun things there. Shaggy coming off of his, I guess, success of Sliver. So good stuff there. It's just a lot of fun.
His big hit song was "It Wasn't Me."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hillary hates that song. I think it's hilarious, but yeah. Do you know that song?
I don't.
It Wasn't Me. Oh, I'm not gonna sing it now because we'll get canceled. But look it up later. It really is an awful song. Hey, let's do Be Bad or Be Best. Tracy, what do you think?
Okay, I'll go, although I think you guys haven't seen it yet, but based on the poster and what you've heard, the new Superman, speaking of James Gunn, who wrote and directed Superman. We're just not even going to come up with the new title, just Superman.
Is it so bad nobody should watch it, or is it the best kind of bad that everyone should watch?
Well, I mean, again, I do have plans to see it, but I still haven't. My guess, here, I will contrast my hope versus what I think. My hope is that this is a perfect Superman, which shows all the elements that you want from a Superman movie. And, it's wonderful and it's joyful. My guess is that it has enough fun that, I will enjoy watching it, but chances are the reason people love it is because people are looking for a movie to love right now. And it's not that.
Oh, you think it's like overrated?
Well, that's what's been happening. I remember I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which everyone thought was amazing. And I found it just Rocket Raccoon crying for an hour and a half. And then these weird, freaky creatures. And I was like, this is interesting. So that is my prediction for Superman, but I could very much be happily wrong, and it could be an amazing Superman.
So you're guessing it's a be best?
I'm gonna say it's a be bad.
Oh, it's say
my
it's a be
wish
bad.
Is be best, but I would say more likely it's be bad.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm just gonna say be best. I just don't give a shit about about Superman. I just don't give a fuck about any comic book stuff anymore. But I'm going to say this is a B best just because I like what Gunn does as he exemplifies in Scooby-Doo. I like how he subverts corporate entertainment within corporate entertainment. I think that's a cool thing. So I'm going to go B best.
All right. I'm going to say it B bad. I saw it, and there are moments. I think the cast are all great. They all do as much as they can with what little they're given. I would argue there's zero character development. It is too long. It is too noisy. It does the same thing that makes me crazy about all the DC films, particularly where like the last 45 minutes is nonstop chaos, where we kill thousands of people, where we pretend it's a victory and take out a city, multiple blocks. I think they were going for kind of, it's this nonsense that Fox is like, Superman went woke. Superman started off like taking on the KKK. So like, no,
right.
He's always been the alien / immigrant who is the best of us and believes in us and tries to help us. So that's just a stupid commentary. This, unfortunately, I think does try to do some messaging that, depending on one's worldview about certain wars that are currently happening, I think I would have done it a little smarter, because I think there would have been a responsibility to service that, as opposed to two fictional countries that I think everyone can watch and figure out who's who. I thought it was an interesting choice to have Superman consistently lose and have to be saved by a dog and Lois, and the Justice League shows up out of nowhere. I think they're badly serviced as well, but all the performances are good. So I liked seeing the new cast. I just thought this is really not good, but it's making $1 billion, so it doesn't matter. And 3 years from now, we'll get another one.
Would you be interested in seeing the new DC Gunverse expanded into like a Supergirl and a Batman, or do you just not care after seeing this?
Superman's my favorite. I love the Richard Donner film and the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. They're two of my all-time favorite movies. I actually grew up reading Superman. So I actually do really care about Superman. So they've been so bad for so long. This is not nearly as bad as Zack Snyder, which again to me is a low bar. It's like saying the guy who, just did a hit and run is not as bad as Ted Bundy. It's like, okay.
Sure. That's good. That's a good
they
metaphor.
kill people and don't need to be that bad,
Yeah.
So, that's my metaphor for this one. But
so do you consider the new Superman movie to equate a hit and run?
Yes.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except that would have been faster.
It was more of a hit and walk.
It was like, I thought he was supposed to be fast. But there's something about the Richard Donner 78 version. It is just doused in charm. And it's the cast is fabulous, but the writing, it's witty. And here there's just there's no characters to play. I mean, they're thin, and it works because the cast is great. They're cute as buttons, and they really all do their jobs. But there's not a moment where I think Nicholas Hoult is a genius. I don't buy him as Lex Luthor. He's not bad. I just think we haven't written Lex Luthor yet. And so that's my kind of thing, which is weird because Gunn is so good with this kind of stuff. It just wasn't for me. But I love that a lot of people love it. I found it's like the Hillary Clinton of movies. I have friends that are like, it's fucking awesome. And then my other friends are like, it sucks. I haven't met a lot of people that are like, I don't know. It's very polarizing. And I do think every generation deserves their own Superman. And so this might be a younger generation's version of what they think that is. And that's okay. I'll stick with Christopher Reeve forever.
There's no room for any actors who are anything like Gene Hackman in modern Hollywood. So there's no way you're going to be able to make a Lex Luthor as good as that.
It's like,
those actors are, I believe those actors exist, Tracy. I believe they're out there. I believe I may have been one. But like Dustin Hoffman, Dustin Hoffman doesn't exist now, and it's not because like they're adverse to talent. It's just they're adverse to talent that looks like that. And Hackman is one of those. And Hackman was a guy who could like scare the shit out of you and play the worst of humanity, and you'd still go
Jeff Luce likes John Cryer's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's absolutely, that's a voice thing. And John Cryer's also probably the best part of Superman 3.
But John Cryer John Cryer's in Superman 4 Quest for Peace. He's like, hey, Uncle
Lenny. Right, yeah, Superman 4.
He has that great line. He goes, Lenny, I've always thought of you as the Dutch elm disease in my family tree. I mean, that was the
My be bad or be best is we've already sort of covered it. It's a Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Colby, is this be bad or be best?
Oh, be best, 100%. The movie's wonderful, as everything the first thing does, and then a little bit extra, and there's no Scrappy Doo. It's great. They take a bunch of monsters from the past animated movies and put them as live action versions of themselves, and you see the gang have to try and deal with all of those again, and it's pretty great. It's a really fun idea.
Awesome.
I'm gonna follow Kobe. I'm gonna say be best. That sounds great, and I like the not Scrappy Doo part.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Scooby-Doo 2 is a be best. So we got Superman's be bad, and Scooby-Doo 2 is be best. Let's do when bad films happen to good actors. Do you want me to go first this time, Tracy?
Yes, go first.
All right, so this is a movie that shouldn't have happened to Matt Lillard, or probably Neil Patrick Harris, and a lot of people. And good luck finding it out there. It's called Animal Room. It's this sort of, late 90s indie movie trying to be, oh, right, Amanda Peet. I forgot she's in it too. You see the tagline here, echoing alarms of Clockwork Orange.
What is that? That's echoing alarms?
Echoing alarm.
Yeah, the tagline writers were told to be as pretentious as the filmmaker when they made that. This movie is bad. I think the only way you can see it is if you can find this out of print DVD. But what's great about the DVD, by the way, is you're watching this movie, and then at about the half-hour point, you start to feel like you've seen it all before, and it's not very good. So, like, you're like in and out of paying attention, and then it's a quality control issue on the mass print, not mass printing, but probably limited printing of this DVD. But they literally repeat like a half hour of the movie in the middle of the movie.
Oh.
And because the movie's so bad, and you're like, oh, how is this gonna? And then you're like, wait, this feels weird. It's like deja vu. It's like I've already been through this. And it took me a while to realize, Jesus Christ, it's literally, what is wrong with the DVD? So I'm rewinding it and changing chapters and trying to figure out what happened. And no, it's just, there's a half hour of the movie that just repeats itself.
Is it part of the plot?
It turns a 90-minute movie into a 2-hour movie.
Gotcha.
And it's just awful. And I feel bad for everybody involved except one guy who's currently in jail. So if you're curious about the worst of the worst, I mean, this is definitely a be bad movie, but if you like hurting yourself, you might seek it out. Tracy, what's yours?
That's a ringing endorsement right there. I'm going to go with the classic. I was thinking of big IP like Scooby-Doo that was done really badly by Warner Brothers. That had a great cast, and I think it was cheesy then. It's awful now, but I secretly love it. But it's terrible, and it has an incredible cast. I am talking about none other than Mr. Mullet himself, Kevin Costner as Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh my gosh!
He drags the great Alan Rickman, the great Morgan Freeman, Christian Slater, the great Sean Connery, who once upon a time played Robin, an aging Robin with Marion, Audrey Hepburn back in his day, and the great Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, back when we used to have actresses with 3 names all the time. And of course, the damn Bryan Adams song. This is it's like the worst ear. Everything I do, I'm like, stop it. So I just think it's like an amazing cast, and it's really beautifully shot, and it's just not good.
Which one of the cast do you think it victimizes the most?
I would say Alan Rickman, except he makes it work because he's so great. But
it's great, but it's like, I agree with you. I think he's
amazing, and then
he's great, and that's what makes him the biggest victim. is because it's this wasted perfect performance in a terrible movie.
And you know that Sean Connery just showed up for a couple $1 million and he's like, yeah, I got an Oscar last time I worked with this Costner kid in The Untouchables. I'll do it again. And, Morgan is completely wasted as the Moor. You're like, okay. And I just feel like she's a beautiful Maid Marian, but like kind of given the Marion Ravenswood treatment in Crystal Skull where she just sits around wearing a vest and you're like,
yeah.
Did you saw it, you said?
Yeah, the Robin Hood movie.
Do you
I don't remember it.
No.
I remember Robin Hood Men in Tights. I find that to be a wonderful Robin Hood.
That's awesome. That's Mel Brooks goodness right there.
Yeah, that's really good. No,
yeah.
I'll eat that any day.
Concur.
I don't think it's one of Mel Brooks' better movies, but I think it's better than Spaceball.
Interesting opinion.
It's better than Prince of Thieves, which
it's
definitely better than Prince of Thieves,
which is what it was spoofing.
Yeah, it was inspired by it, but it like spoofed older Robin Hood movies, which made it better than.
But old Robin Hood movies, like you had Errol Flynn and Basil Rathbone, one of the greatest exchanges ever. You speak treason fluently, like you had wit, and now we're like, bring me a spoon, Wyatt. It's small. You're like, what?
What's fucked up is Robin Hood got worse cinematically.
Yeah, and then Russell Crowe basically killed him with Ridley Scott.
That was Ridley Scott, right?
Maybe we'll be lucky and James Gunn will pick up Robin Hood next.
No, we're done because they'll cast someone like Timothée Chalamet, and he'll.
That's true. It'll be Timothée Chalamet as Robin Hood.
If you thought he sucked this Wonka, just wait for it.
No. Yeah. All right, let's end the show on a positive note with the boost.
Fire. Spaceballs is the Star Wars of Naked Gun 5. Well played. Fabulous.
I am gonna go see the Naked Gun.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
I'm gonna see it.
I like Liam Neeson.
I don't care how bad it is. I'm going. All right. So the boost, Tracy. What's your moment of positivity?
Yeah, I wanted to boost point of personal privilege here. I want to boost a film I was actually a consulting producer on because I thought it was a film about something that was important. The name of the film, you can see it on Netflix, is called Jules Catch One. It's about Jewel Tice Williams, who we actually just lost 2 weeks ago. She was a LGBTQ pioneer. She owned the Catch One, which is down in Pico area. And when West Hollywood was very racist, only white gays were allowed. She wanted to create a place that was safe for everybody. Her expression was, everybody is welcome here, gays, tris, bis, and otherwise. She's a great lady. I came on board to help my friend Fitz, who directed it, finish the film. We got into the BFI Film Festival, so we got to go to London. Jewel got to be a standing ovation on the big Leicester Square. This is us in P-Town at the premiere. Good old Jewel.
Aw, that's great.
Yeah. There it is. And we should also give points to Ava DuVernay, who actually acquired the film. So through Array, which is her, distribution arm. And that's how you can watch it on Netflix. So Ava doing a solid for Jewel. And it's a really fun documentary because it talks about how everybody started going there in the 90s. Madonna went and kind of all of a sudden people started paying attention. But the paparazzi was not hanging out at Normandy and Pico, right? And so Sharon Stone, when she was the hottest thing on the planet after Basic Instinct, she would go there to dance and she'd wear combat boots. We got to go to her house and pick up her interview, and it's a fabulous interview. But it's all the disco queens would premiere their albums there. A lot of really sacred stuff. It also turned into a soup kitchen at the height of the AIDS epidemic, when a lot of predominantly Black patrons were disowned by their family. Jewel turned the upstairs of the club into basically not only a soup kitchen, but you guys can stay here, die with dignity. And when the riots came after the Rodney King tragedy, a bunch of her kind of queer patrons surrounded the Catch and wouldn't let it be burned down, as the entire rest of the neighborhood was, because it was the community center. At the age of 65, Jewel went from running a club, she kept that open too, to forming basically a health clinic right next door. And if you couldn't pay for things, because healthcare is real, you could bring her a bag of lemons or an orange or something. And she basically practiced acupuncture and saved a lot of my friends a lot of pain and helped with their health. And it remarkable angel. So check out.
Cool. That sounds like a definitely a documentary worth watching.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
One Woman, One City, No Fear, 42 years. So thank you, Jewel.
My boost is, I mean, I'm not suggesting this is a good movie.
Okay.
I'm just suggesting it's a fun movie.
All right.
This is from this era of late 90s, early aughts movies from Joel Silver's, I think it was Joel Silver, his a Dark Castle movies.
Oh, yeah. The Dark Castle. Yeah, they took the old
and they did a lot of remakes of
Yeah.
old Hammer movies and William Castle movies and all this. And we watched this recently as a family because Hillary wanted to watch a horror movie and Colby wanted to see something with Matt Lillard because he loves Matt Lillard.
Love Matt Lillard.
So we watched 13 Ghosts, which I have on a double feature Blu-ray with House of Wax.
Oh my God.
I also think is delightful.
That is money well spent, my friend. That is a good double feature.
Yeah, it's a good double feature of fantastic, overproduced horror junk, and Matt Lillard's very fun. And
he's wonderful.
Ghosts.
He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah,
you know, he's just, you can tell he's having fun until the part where he's picked up by a ghost and squished.
Yeah,
you know, he's having a great time.
Well, he gets beat up, but then you get to see him. But the point is like in Scooby-Doo, Matt Lillard, I think, owns 13 Ghosts and walks away. And there's a lot of good actors in 13 Ghosts, but Lillard walks away with it.
I love it. Yeah, I saw both of those in the theater. The House of Wax was hilarious because it was like whatever the release date was of the movie. They're like, "Come see Paris Hilton die on the release date."
What was the tagline? Like, Paris will fall. I think
it was like that. London is falling.
Yeah, exactly.
Much rather see Paris take it. It's definitely a moment in time kind of movie, but super fun.
Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. It was amazing. Yeah. And then my boost is so we all know, talking about James Gunn again, everybody saw James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I thought it was wonderful. I would just like to remind everyone of Will Smith's Suicide Squad.
Oh,
a wonderful original film that James Gunn clearly took inspiration from and took a step up and made a great film. I would just like to throw that into the air one more time.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. That's a cool thing to say.
Yeah.
It's the only good thing you can say about the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, and by the way, that makes it Birds of Prey look.
Oh, Birds of Prey was amazing. I loved that movie.
Birds of Prey was fun.
That's what I should have boosted. That movie was great.
Robbie was great. I loved her.
She's always fun. She's always fun.
She was great, but I hated what they did to Harley Quinn with Gaga and Joker too. I was like, that's not her character. And I mean, again, I'm not going to die on the hill. I get it. Paul Dini created Harley Quinn somewhat recently, whatever. But like her taking away her agency and then hiring someone like Gaga and making her sing badly. I'm like, I don't know if you understand this, but she's one of the best voices out there.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I mean, it's like get Russell Crowe from freaking Les Miserables. You know, when he jumped. But I was like, Jesus, hire someone like that. Don't get Gaga to say pull in your wings. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. I'm never gonna see Joker Part 2 because I already saw
Part 2
Joker Part 1. And I don't need any more.
No.
Let's wrap up the show. I think the next episode probably is going to be about What About Bob?
Soon. We're going to coordinate what day. We're going to wait for you, Todd, to do.
Maybe. Okay. So we're not doing a show next week.
No.
I have to go to a board meeting, everybody, because I have a job. I have to go to a board meeting. So the week after, hopefully I might have my own board meeting that day, but we're going to figure it out. You might have a board meeting.
Oh, well, check the page. We're going to figure out if we could get some folks in to help us out.
It's called a board meeting because you're bored at the meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You're not wrong. I was actually in an ad campaign for Wendy's about it was called the McBoardroom.
Oh,
but it was board was spelled B-O-R-E-D.
That's funny.
McDonald's executives trying to figure out how to, and we couldn't do it. We were terrible at it. Wendy's was better. That was the whole point.
Gotcha.
And they canceled that. And now I work at an HOA management company. It's funny how things turn out.
And we'll soon be doing a show called Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
When did I become the bad guy?
Wait, it's left up too. I want my Edmund Coffin.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank Colby Anderson
thank you, Colby,
and bringing us Scooby-Doo. It was a delight. A genius. Thank you, Tracy, and good night, everybody.
Good night and good luck.
See you next time on my favorite movie. Peace out.
Bye.